Hey, what's up, Elliot? Damn, my stream's really delayed. Damn, I don't think I'm having the best audio. Unfortunately, I can't have the best setup in this hotel that I'm in, so I'm going to have to make do somehow, some way. Strongest Spade villain that isn't Lucifero. Well, yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, but I actually made a tweet the yesterday. Actually, was it yesterday or was it 2 days ago? I can't remember. And then I also did a community tab post yesterday or the other day. I'm gonna look it up, um, because you know, as you just said, MU, it's very obvious that Lucifero is the strongest character, strongest villain in the Spade saga. I mean, there's really no debate. But and then if you take out the beginning villains, the 80% Dark Triad, even the 100% Dark Triad, they are not very strong either. Like, we already know that Lilith or Nama, who are likely on the bottom rung, they and they're individual before they fuse. They are above the 100% Dark Triad because there's two different statements where Nox says that the 100% Dark Triad are near the level of a Supreme Devil, and he only knew of Lilith and Nama at that time. So I posted on my community tab yesterday, was it? And I did, which do you think was the strongest of the four? Warren Lucifero, Devil Heart Zenon, one third Manifested Megicula, or Fusion Lilith. And Warren Lucifero was by far number one, Devil Heart Zenon number two. Surprisingly, Fusion Lilith was third, and then Megicula was by far dead last. What's up, guys? Yeah, this is live. Hashashinen me? IMO Devil Heart Zenon is the strongest, even above Warren Lucifero. Yeah, I think I remember you talking about that, which when I was actually reading people's comments and reading everybody's arguments, I didn't change my mind per se, but I think that there's actually a lot of evidence for any of those three being the strongest. But I don't think that Fusion Lilith has much of an argument for being the strongest. So like, this video is going to be mainly talking about Fusion Lilith, one third Manifested Megicula, Devil Heart Zenon, and Worm Lucifero. So I'm not going to be talking about too much about the chapter that just came out, like the unofficial chapter that TCB Scans just translated. I usually do my reviews on Sunday, but unfortunately this Sunday I'll be there at the airport, so I will be reviewing the official chapter of Black Clover 342 on Monday this week. Glad Black Clover is a legit power scaler. Thanks, appreciate that. Chica versus Fuegoleon. Assuming we don't know how strong Fuegoleon has gotten, it definitely has to be a Chica. Would body Fusion Lilith? Definitely. He actually would, yeah. That's why I think that Fusion Lilith doesn't really have much of an argument of being... like, Fusion Lilith just has to be the bottom of the four. Saw YouTube short to put Ziggurat above Fusion Lilith. Oh my god, can you please link it? I'd love to watch that. I don't understand any Ziggurat arguments, man. Especially if you watched anime canon. Ziggurat gets fodderized so quickly. But yeah, just comment down below in the chat, guys. Who do you think is the strongest of those four? Worm Lucifero, Devil Heart Zenon, one third Manifested Megicula, or Fusion Lilith? Yeah, I agree that would body Lilith. You think current is stronger than Marielena? Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, current is at least stronger than Spade Saga Marielena. Marielena, she could have gotten stronger over the course of the 15-month time skip, but then again, Lucius doesn't consider her a threat. He considers a threat. Who's the weakest character that can beat the Dark Triad? Um, I don't know. Probably real. And he's strong, actually. Warren Lucifero or Devil Heart Zenon. But the edge to Warren Lucifero. Yeah, I mean, what's crazy is I didn't realize how many arguments there are for each of those three. If they could be the strongest. What's up, Hunter? But Zagred's power is very OP, and I don't understand how he lost the way he did. I mean, just because, I mean, anti-magic and Yuno's wind and Lick and Lumire's support abilities they went off. I don't think Yuno's feats are underwhelming for EB. You don't. I mean, that doesn't sound dumb that Devil Zenon is the strongest, but you would still lose to Worm Lucifer in a fight because you can still be technically stronger than somebody in Black Clover and lose as long as abilities and that person has relative power. Now, one of the things I will talk about first is that I don't know about everybody in here, but the majority of the people who voted in the community tab, Fusion Lilith is considered stronger than Megicula, as Fusion Lilith took 10% of the vote, and 1/3 Manifested Megicula took 4%. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the majority of people actually believe Megicula is weaker. It just means that more people thought that Fusion Lilith was the strongest of those four. But if we go over, and too bad, I don't know why, I still need to fix my streaming software because it won't let me do any screen grabs. All I can do is put in an image of my thumbnail. So when I get home, I probably won't be able to do normal streaming for another 3 weeks because I won't be home until then. So lesser quality streams for the next 3 weeks, but oh well. But anyways, now the whole like issue with like people bringing up Megicula versus Fusion Lilith, and I remember this was like very common at the time, and kind of my logic as well is that when Megicula first like came out, a lot of people were like, okay, well Megicula is a higher Supreme Devil because she's gonna be above Lilith and Ama because Lilith and Ama they're the highest of the Tree of Cliff-Off, which is the weakest because the lower it is, the stronger the devils. But the difference there is that you had Megicula was only 1/3 manifested, and you have Lilith and Ama combining their powers, and it's more than doubles them. So it's like you have even though Megicula is a higher Cliff-Off devil, but she's only at 1/3 power, and Lilith and Ama, they're lower, but they're more than double power, because when they fuse, their power is more than doubled. That's what Noct says. He says their power is more than just 1 + 1. Do I think Noelle could defeat Fusion Lilith solo? It's no. I mean, there's Noelle at the beginning of the fight against Vanica, 100% Vanica, versus Noelle when she defeats Megicula. It has to be a completely different animal. She has to literally be like stronger, likely. I don't know. It depends. But anyways, there is a lot of reasonings for Megicula still being not just like stronger than Fusion Lilith, but like just considerably stronger than Fusion Lilith, and it kind of harkens down to scaling within the fight, because we know that even though 100% Vanica is considered to be weaker than Lilith or Nama, it has to be close because you have Noct. Noct gives two statements for how strong the 100% Dark Triad are. He says in one statement they're as strong as the Supreme Devils. Excuse me. Another statement is they're a bit weaker, which means that they're probably so close that their magic power would be probably super hard to detect the differences. But so, I mean, it's just that 100% Dark Triad are a hair weaker than Lilith or Nama. So that's how we get how strong 100% Vanica is. She would be a hair weaker, or a speck weaker than Lilith or Nama. And now that means that we know that Fusion Lilith would just likely body any of the 100% Dark Triad, because Fusion Lilith is more than twice as strong as any of them. Would have two magic types as well, Fire and Ice. Being forced to watch the MLKs. Are you in school? It's a good speech though. So yeah, we have that the 100% Dark Triad are comparable to Lilith and Nama. Well, and then Fusion Lilith would be more than twice as strong as them, which that's kind of the cap we have for how strong Fusion Lilith is that they're just more than twice as strong as their selves, which means they're just more than twice as strong as the 100% Dark Triad. Which, I mean, that's, at the time, that was very powerful. But we look at Megicula, and you can kind of get her to insane power levels. Like, I'm talking about, like, Megicula's not even close. Like, or no, that Fusion Lilith isn't even close to Megicula in power. This is kind of, I think his name was Dingleberry Dova. He messaged me this meta, and I think that it's actually pretty sound. So, you have, I think a lot of you guys agree that Charlotte and Rill are relative to 100% Vanica, because they all fought in a 2v2 versus her and Kursula Pechka, and it was an elongated fight. They take damage from Vanica without getting one shot. They're fast enough to dodge her attacks. So Rill and Charlotte are both relative to 100% Vanica. So they're basically Rill or Charlotte are around Supreme Devil level. And then Rill creates Twilight Valhalla, which is a big power boost, and then it also increases your power the longer it is. That's how it's kind of worded. That it's, you get a big power boost, and then it also increases your power over time. So you have an amped Rill. This would put him well above 100% Dark Triad, or above Lilith and Amah. That's how strong Rill is. He's pretty strong. And then the crazy thing here, right? So you have, like I just said, Rill is Supreme Devil level right there. He's on the level of Lilith and Amah, likely even above them. But Megicula can take 100 dead Dark Disciples and imbue 100 of them with magic power that can fight Rill's spells. Remember that Rill's spells would be Supreme Devil level. And that would mean that Megicula at 1/100th of her, at 1/100th of her power, 1% of her power, is above Lilith and Amah. Which means that Megicula at her full, and this is her full 1/3 power, her full 1/3 power would be above, her full 1/3 power would be 100 times above Lilith and Amah. So that's like the basically the measurements we have for the two of them. Megicula is more than 100 times stronger than Lilith and Amah. Fusion Lilith is more than twice as strong. So like that's like a huge gap. Does Valhalla also affect Rill, or just... No, it definitely affects him, because remember, he was going to die as well. He didn't take any of the damage until after, which means his spells do affect him, and it also would logically have to be that way because of how strong his spells became after he was on Valhalla. So yeah, Valhalla also affects Rill, not just his allies. So yeah, that's my reasoning for why Megicula is way stronger than Fusion Lilith. It's not even close. Maryland Fogolion above the Twin Devils. Yeah, they should be, because they scaled a Worm Lucifero. See, that's my reasoning for Megicula being above Fusion Lilith. And I don't think there's just much of an argument. Fused Twins made a freezing sun, which was going to destroy the country, but don't think Megicula had shown a country level attack yet, although I'm sure she could do it. Yeah, but that's not really a logical way of scaling. Like, because in series like this, characters will display so many different feats. Like, technically, who is it? Technically, in terms of like quantifiable feats, William from the beginning of the series is stronger than Lucifero, if you go by that logic. Because Lucifero, all he did was affect gravity on a city-wise scale. He destroyed buildings. Whereas William created a tree so big in the sky that it warped the clouds, which was a large mountain level feat. And large mountain level is a lot above city level. So it's like if you go by that scaling, then you have William in the beginning of the series above Lucifero. So that's why I don't use that type of scaling. I think that when you're in verse scaling, you need to like base it off of that. Basing it off of feats, not really going to work very well. Bro, 1 for Megicula is equal to Fused Twin Devil. And what's your argument, VC? I'm interested to know why you think that, because I definitely disagree. I don't know if you missed the part where I just showed that Megicula is over 100 times stronger than Lilith and Amah. Luck versus Mirio, would that be a close fight? No, I don't think so. It all depends on how much power Mariolina keeps, though. That is a huge, huge thing there, because Mariolina could fight Lucifero even when the Valhalla amp was gone, whereas Luck could only fight Megicula, and Megicula is fodder compared to Lucifero. She's not Cliff-Off Devil. She is a Cliff-Off Devil, though, VC. This is one of the biggest misnomers that people still argue in the fandom. They say Megicula isn't a Cliff-Off Devil. That's completely wrong. Not only does Liba consider Megicula a Cliff-Off Devil, but other people consider her a Cliff-Off Devil. She became the Cliff-Off Devil after Astaroth. Couldn't any Supreme Devil outlast anyone who is an Arcane or Saint, just due to the very specific parameters it takes to take one down? In a sense, yeah, but we also know that devils can be knocked unconscious, though. So, I guess if in a fight, they could still lose against somebody who is an Arcane or Saint. And also, I mean, Ultimate Magic would kill a devil, too. Y'all having a different conversation in here. S101 and Freebie talking back and forth. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but yeah, VC, she is a Cliff-Off Devil. Noelle or Mariolina, who wins? Or who's stronger? Mariolina became stronger than Noelle. If Lucifero got his Grimoire, do you think he could use spells like Singularity? I think he should have anyways. So Megicula is Astaroth's replacement, so wouldn't that put her top 3 automatically? In a sense, yeah. I don't think that she would technically scale to Astaroth right away, but she is a Cliff-Off Devil. I'm sure there is at least a baseline power level you have to be to become a Cliff-Off Devil. But yeah, either way, she is scaling well above Lilith and Ama. Like I said, she made 100. She made 100 warriors all stronger than Lilith or Ama, and still had power left to fight afterwards. So that's why I put Fusion Lilith the lowest. Will Mary become Mana itself? That's kind of what Ultimate Magic seemingly is becoming close to Magic. Like, what Mariolina was doing with Hellfire Hornet, it essentially is Ultimate Magic. Is there anybody else? You know, strongest feats are statement feats. What do you mean by that? Anybody else have any ideas on Fusion Lilith versus Megicula? Has Lux surpassed Gaja? I believe so. In terms of power, at least, yeah. But it's hard to say, because Gaja was dead, so we don't know how much power he had left, but he was also amped by Valhalla, so we don't know what his real power level was, but I'd say so, that Luck has surpassed Gaja. Alright, if anybody doesn't have any thoughts on Megicula versus Fusion Lilith, I'm gonna move on to Devil Heart Zenon versus Fusion Lilith. And I'll show you why all 3 of them are stronger. You feel like Lucifero used a Singularity, he would have completely destroyed the planet. He likely would have, honestly. I mean, remember that there was multiple statements that he was going to destroy the world if he manifested. How much difference in power between First Gate Devil and Penultimate Lucifugus? Well, considering... I mean, it's huge. Like, I'll get into how even a Dromalek is stronger than Fusion Lilith. And if a Dromalek is stronger than Fusion Lilith, and a Dromalek's only the second devil, then it's a pretty big difference, right, guys? Alright, so nobody is really talking about Fusion Lilith right now versus Megicula. So I'm going to switch it to Devil Heart Zenon, and why he's stronger than Fusion Lilith as well, just to basically show that Fusion Lilith is just weaker than all of them. Now, the reasoning for Devil Heart Zenon being stronger than Fusion Lilith is kind of similar. Like, 100% Zenon already is going to scale relative to Lilith or Nama, because it's stated that the 100% Dark Triad are near the level of a Supreme Devil, which would be Lilith and Nama, because that's what Noct was basing it off of. So 100% Zenon already is near, like, basically equal to Lilith and Nama. And then Zenon makes the contract with Beelzebub, and Beelzebub gives him a Devil Heart. Now, a lot of people misconstrue this as that Beelzebub gave Zenon his Devil Heart, but that's not really true. Zenon asks for a Devil Heart, and Beelzebub gives him a Devil Heart. It's never stated that Beelzebub gave him his heart. But still, it's a massive power increase that Zenon got, so considering that, that would mean that if he was near Lilith and Nama, and then got way stronger, then we can basically say there that Devil Heart Zenon is a lot stronger than Lilith and Nama. But the issue with that is that that still doesn't vaguely put him at Fusion Lilith level. But there is scaling that does. So, when Devil Zenon first comes out, he basically fodderizes Fenrir and Longris. And then Yuno awakens his star magic. Now, Yuno, with his star magic, which basically gives him a whole new set of mana, can blitz Devil Heart Zenon and blow holes through him. But that's not enough to defeat him. And then Yuno goes full Spirit Dive on top of his brand new power set, and still Devil Heart Zenon can still fight Yuno, who just amplified his power many times over. Now, there are many different ways to scale how strong full Spirit Dive is. It's several multipliers, though. Now, when I made Yuno scale, I believe I talked about multipliers in the Asta versus Yuno video I did a few months ago. Now, that's technically not correct anymore, because the German guide incorrectly translated how strong Mana Zone was. We can still gauge Mana Zone as at least a 2 times multiplier. And we also know that Spirit Dive is at least a 2 times multiplier. And so Spirit Dive is a 2 times multiplier. Spirit Dive 2 is more than a Spirit Dive 1 with Mana Zone, and then Spirit Dive 3 is way above that. So it's very likely that Yuno's full Spirit Dive is more than a 10 times multiplier, and then Yuno still gets stronger when he gets Saint Stage on top of that. So basically, you have Devil Heart Zenon, who is above Lilith or Nama, and then he basically gets a lot stronger, because he goes from getting blitzed and holes blown through him by a base to basically being near equal to a full Spirit Dive So that means he's got to have at least gotten 10 times stronger. I think that basically Zenon was just holding back when he first fought Star Magic when he first transformed into his Devil Heart, because he saw Fenrir and Longris, he's like, I don't need to go out against these guys are weak. That's how you would justify that, and it's backed up by the feats of Spirit Dive. So basically with that, we know that Zenon is like way more than 10 times stronger Lilith and Nama. And all we have for Fusion Lilith is more than 2 times stronger Lilith and Nama. So based off of that, you can put Devil Heart Zenon above Fusion Lilith. Nah, you're AP kind of nut. You're actually overhyping Lilith and Nama's conceptual manipulation. They didn't do anything with life or death. Noct created a world that was full of shadows that had no life or death. They didn't burn life or death. This is that Noct's world had no life or death, and then they burned the shadows. Which really isn't that impressive if you think about it. Technically, Marilena already burnt shadow by darkness, and burnt light as well, so... Beaky, a non-related question. Do you think Asta was using partial Devil Union or an advanced black form against the Chica? Because one translation said, even if we used Devil Union, it wouldn't matter. Yeah, no, he was definitely using his full black form. The reason for that we know that he was using his full black form, is because, for one, there is no no signature of Devil Union in his form at all. Basically, the only argument that Asta was in a Devil Union is because of Viz's translation, which is incorrect, and that Liebe is gone when he goes into the form. Now, Liebe being on Asta has been portrayed inconsistently anyways, but Asta has no star on his chest. There's none of the anti-magic orbs around Asta, which we know is a signature of Devil Union. So yeah, TCB scans, they translated that as, even if I used Devil Union, it wouldn't matter. So no, he was just using full black form against the Chica. Wasn't Devil Heart Zenon using half of Beelzebub's power though? No, he wasn't. A pine to cut. That doesn't really work like that. And no, it doesn't. They don't burn and freeze away concepts. There's different types of conceptual manipulation. Nox said they could affect intangible concepts because a shadow is intangible, but they're not affecting concepts in the way that, like, in terms of like DC and Marvel comics, where characters are affecting conceptual manipulation that puts them like at beyond space and time in terms of scaling. It doesn't work here. You mentioned Beelzebub gave a devil heart, not his. Can the devils do that? I mean, they have their own armies. I wouldn't be surprised if he just took a devil heart from one of his armies. It's not, dude, it's not stated. Okay, I will pull up the manga right here and explain to you, like, why you are overhyping it. I understand, like, it is confusing, but it's not saying what you are saying. And Unknown Gaming, or no, Freebie, do you think the Wizard King for the movie is Devil Heart Zenon level? Very likely not, because it takes place before chapter 229. Alright, I will bring up the chapter, I think it's 287, where Noct is fighting them. Noct Shadows does manipulate space? Not really. Alright, so when will the chapter live stream come out? That'll come out Monday. So this is a Pinecott. This is what he says. By sacrificing myself, I'll lock you inside a world of shadows, a place with no light, life, or death. Come and play an endless, hellish game of tag with me. Then, Lilith and I'm gonna destroy the world anyways, and Nox says impossible. They broke my spell, something which doesn't physically exist. They're magic. It burns away everything, it freezes everything. Even shadow and light and even invisible concepts. Damn, of course the fridge starts to get loud right when I'm streaming. Remember that shadow doesn't physically exist. It's intangible. It's not like a physical thing. That's what it's being talked about. No, like they're burning shadow. They are burning darkness. They're not. If life or death don't exist in the world, that's because that no, you're just overhyping it, man. That's not proof. I mean, Marileona has literally burnt darkness and light before. Why would that be impressive for Lilith and Amon to do it? I just don't get why that would be impressive. You get what I mean? Because he even says, it burns and freezes everything, even shadow and light, which are invisible concepts. Like, that doesn't seem very, very powerful when Marileona has done that almost 150 chapters prior to that. Affecting concepts like that, it's just affecting intangible concepts, not... I mean, it doesn't really... it's not the type of conceptual manipulation you're trying to argue, is what I'm saying. Because like, let's go for this. Even if they have conceptual manipulation, everybody would scale to it. Anybody who scales above the Twin Devils, they would have it. So, it doesn't really change anything for the twins being weaker than Megicula. If Yami can cut through space, as in a concept, and Marilyn scales to him, you're you're already like differentiating the things. Like a conceptual space versus a space, it's very different. If you are conceptually damage resistance to everything, then no matter. But that's not even what Lilith and Alma are, though. Consist escape Dorothy's magic. Yeah, she would. She would just. Well, yeah, she would. She would escape through it. If we take the power that she wielded against Lucifero at the end, and you just put her in Dorothy's glamour world, a non-amped Dorothy, she would eventually just win and break out. They have conceptual magic to some degree. Not really. You're confusing conceptual with a like there's two different definitions. Vanika's mommy, though. You sent that in my Discord. I'll appreciate that. How strong is Paladin, Sister Lily? Stronger than Beelzebub. I mean, dude, there's an intangible... Because if you're trying to argue conceptual manipulation the way you are, you have to have more evidence that they are using the idea of Plato's idea of concepts. Or if you think of like a chair versus the concept of a chair, that's the type of conceptual manipulation you're thinking of. This is completely different. Yeah, Sleeping Nature, I do think that we will see the Dark Triad again. Yami cut this space-time continuum. But that's not conceptual, though. You guys are conflating two different types of concepts. If all gravity derives from Lucifero, that would make him Universal Plus, yeah. Can you know Star Magic bend space and time? It seems like, at least in a sense, because it can counter gravity magic. Excuse me. Beelzebub would be relative to Lucifero, I would argue, but still weaker. Oh my, dude! Like, literally everything is a concept. But you, like a pine to cut. Like, I get what the conceptual scaling that you're trying to argue, but it's not the type of scaling that you think it is. Like, it's an intangible concept because shadow is not a physical thing, but you're not affecting the concept. Because if you're to go to Plato's, because Plato had the idea of, like, when you see something versus the concept. Like, I'm looking at my Keurig right now. the concept of this Keurig would be like beyond space and time because the concept like infinitely transcends it. But that's not what Noct is talking about here. It's just an intangible concept. It's not because we actually see the shadow. Can we argue that all gravity doesn't derive from Lucifero because after he died by Lucius, gravity still exists? That you could, but I mean, technically, it could now be all within Lucius controlling it all, or it could be that Lucifero just already created all the gravity. Like, let's say, for example, 5 billion years ago, an alien just created Earth as a science project, but then that alien got killed by a solar flare. The planet Earth is still here, kind of like that. Like Lucifer already created all the gravity. That could debate it though, but again, you're conflating two different types of concepts. You would have to argue Plato's concepts for it to be conceptual manipulation. Gaia World is stated to be infinite, yeah. Damn, we're getting kind of off topic though. Maybe I will have to do a video on Lilith and Amma and talk about why people just overhype them and wank their feet. I mean, if you just look at Versus Battles Wiki conceptual manipulation, and you'll probably understand it better. Like, I get what you're trying to say, but it just doesn't work like that. Morris should scale relative to the Dark Triad. Dude, a pint to cut. I get what you're trying to say, but it's not what you're trying to say. Go read the conceptual manipulation page on Versus Battle Wiki. Intangible shadows or intangible concepts it's not the same thing. Just because it's the same word used does not mean it's what you're trying to argue it for. Like, I get it. That's not true of Pine to Cut. Spaced or time manipulation is not conceptual manipulation. What happens when an equal amount of magic and anti-magic collide? The anti-magic should win out. So all the black bowls together, low diff 100% Dante or Vanica. Oh yeah. I mean, base Asta. By the end of the Spade Saga, base Asta he would be able to fight and defeat all the 100% Dark Triad at the same time. Dude, you're confusing different types of concepts. Do you realize that different words have different definitions of Pine to Cut? That's what I'm saying. Like, there are different definitions for different words. you're trying to argue conceptual manipulation, which lines to how Plato viewed, and like I think it's called the theory of forms or something like that, where there's a transcendental world of eternal and absolute beings. Yeah, so like that's the type of scaling for conceptual. Yeah, Plato's conceptions of forms and things. That's very different from an actual concept that this is being discussed in Black Clover. Oh, when they fought Morris? I mean, yeah, they would still defeat the Dark Triad, no diff, yeah. 100% Dark Triad, yeah. Mythical beasts and gods are coming. Oh yeah. Like a pine to cut, I get what you were saying. I know what you were trying to say. But there was a difference, and there was a way higher burden of proof to argue what you were saying. Because, like, what they're talking about for an intangible concept is that a shadow is intangible. My coffee cup is emitting a shadow. I cannot punch that shadow. It will not do anything. Lilith and Amal can burn that shadow. That's the difference of what conceptual manipulation is. Like, just go read the Google conceptual manipulation versus battle wiki, and you can read it and you can see that it's not the same thing. That's all I'm trying to say. At 100%, who's the strongest triad? That's a tough one, honestly, because they're stated to be equal. Who is the weakest Black Bull? I think I put it as Gauche in my ranking. And no, he wouldn't be able to defeat a Dark Triad member. Morris is the worst Spade villain. I think, honestly, Lucifero is worse. But just Morris is considered worse because Morris had so much more hype. And so much more build-up. So it felt worse. Applying to cut, again, you have to prove that the concepts they're talking about in Black Clover are aligning with Plato's theory of forms. Not that just because fate is literally an intangible concept, because you don't see fate. It's just a thing that exists. Just like you can't physically affect a shadow. Like I can't do anything to this shadow right here. I'm touching. I have no idea, Daniel. I don't really do Jujutsu Kaisen scaling. I haven't done the Jujutsu Kaisen scaling in like 2 years, I think. Alright, we're moving on from A Pine to Cut and talking about concepts. Like I said, man, read the conceptual manipulation page on Versus Battle Wiki. What the twins did is not conceptual manipulation. Just because it says concept in it doesn't mean it's conceptual manipulation, because there are different definitions for words. Like, really, like, they're saying is that it can affect intangible things. But using the word things doesn't sound very good in a story, so they're using the word concepts. Anyways. Oh, dope. I'm not going to talk about the new chapter in this stream just because it's not out officially. I will be streaming my chapter review and discussion this Monday, though. Chapter 342 is out for TCB scans, which means they get it early and they do fan translations of it. They don't talk about Plato. We're moving on from A Pint to Cut. Yeah, but the thing is, there's more evidence for that, anyways. Because there's different definitions. If, like, let's say, if you conceptually erased Rimuru, right? That means that the concept of him is gone, which means that nobody would remember him. Right? Nobody would remember him. You have to prove that that's the type of scan that is used for Noct and the twins. It doesn't have to be mentioned that Plato is involved, but you need to provide why Plato's theory of forms is the concept that they're using. And that's not the case with Noct and the twins. Is Zegred the strongest pre-time skip character? No. Like, if you're talking between chapter 229... Dude, I literally just read what conceptual manipulation is at Pint to Cut. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. Bro, go read the conceptual... I'm just going to link it for you, dude, because it's very different. Let me link it for you. You can read it and then you come back later. Or you can prove me wrong, but... Because the definition of an abstract concept doesn't really fit the whole shadow thing. But, anyways. There you go. Go read it. Yeah, that's what... Matthew, good point. That's what more like conceptual existence is comparing to the Chainsaw Man. Not at all, Nib. Prime Lumiere doesn't scale to Maryland at all. The Spade demons are a lot stronger than Demon Licked. It's like a huge difference. Zegred was defeated by Licked Lumiere, and, damn, we kind of got off topic from... I mean, I already went why Megicula. Yeah, I've seen Dragon Ball Superhero. A Pint to Cut. That isn't... Reality warping isn't conceptual manipulation. Okay, A Pint to Cut. Stop talking about concepts. We're not talking about concepts anymore. Go read the conceptual manipulation page. And then, until you've read the entire page, I don't want to hear about concepts again. We're not talking about plot. I was talking about the strongest Spade villains. That's what the stream's about. Anyways, so I talked about why Megicula is above Fusion Lilith, why Zenon's above Fusion Lilith. I think it's pretty obvious. Yeah, exactly, Vicky. But we're moving on from concepts. How? Isn't the demon who Lumiere defeated the same as demon who Marilyn and Asta defeated? No, not at all. They're completely different demons. The one that Lumiere fought was Demon Licked. The demons that Marilyn and Asta fought were Spade demons, who have greater feats than Demon Licked. So no, they're not the same demons. But anyways, I guess I should have put the Spade demons ranking, but they're not that strong. I think they're pretty... But anyways. Now, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on Worm Lucifero versus Fusion Lilith. Current Asta versus 50% Lucifero. Asta slaps, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Worm Lucifero versus Fusion Lilith. I mean, we already talked about earlier how using feats of, like, oh, this character was going to destroy the blah blah blah, and an inverse scaling isn't the best way to scale. The best way to scale inverse is to scale characters between each other. Bro, a pint to cut. Stop talking about concepts. The Worm's presence alone would crush Fused Lilith low diff fight. I mean, yeah, Worm Lucifero's presence is pretty nutty. Because remember, that Lucifero in his Worm state was getting basically drastically stronger every second. Yeah, the one when Asta fought Worm Lucifero, he was way stronger than what he was when he fought Fusion Lilith. Yo, we're moving on from the conceptual conversation. You gotta go read the Versus Battle Wiki, dude. I want to hear people talking about Worm Lucifero versus Fusion Lilith. And then we'll move on to the... And just, then we'll probably all agree that Fusion Lilith is the lowest. And we can move on. What I think of Hydronic Magic is, I hope that it's Nightmare Magic. How do I scale current Asta? I don't want to ignore a pint of cut. I like a pint of cut. A pint of cut is a homie. I don't want to ignore people in the chat. I'm just saying let's move on from the conceptual manipulation. You guys are all my homies. A pint of cut's my homie. Is Lucifero strong than Lucifero? I mean, likely not, but if he does become the villain of the Land of the Sun arc, then he likely will become stronger than Lucifero through alternative means. I don't know how strong Mater is, Thor's hammer. But anyways, the reason why I have Worm Lucifero above Fusion Lilith is just in terms of the presence of Worm Lucifero. He's able to completely shit on the Black Bulls in Henry's base. And, like, he's really weird to scale because, like, people say that, Asta didn't fight him because he was too big, but kind of contradictory because Asta fought the Spade Demon, which has arguably bigger, a bigger demon. But yeah, Worm Lucifero, he starts off, he's incredibly powerful. The entire city of the Spade Kingdom capital just gets sent into a pronated grovel. He's getting stronger by the second. He's so strong that no matter how much magic Henry absorbs from him, it just keeps overflowing and they can't catch up. That's how strong. Like he's so strong that he's growing at a faster rate than what Henry can absorb, which is insane. And he was doing it so fastly that Vanessa and Charmy thought that their magic supply was going to run out. So Charmy wouldn't be able to keep filling them up. That's like how insane Worm Lucifero is. But like in terms of feats, I mean it's hard to say. But really what I think puts Worm Lucifero at incredibly strong is that Asta needed to transform into Devil Union. And this is an Asta who, in his base, is already at the Devil Union level that fought Lilith and Ama. And he needs to go to Devil Union and use his strongest spell, Dimension Slash, or Infinite Slash Equinox. And Worm Lucifero is so strong that it needs a healed Yuno to do a full Spirit Dive and a Eurus to destroy half of Worm Lucifero's body. And as we've already talked about, Devil Heart Zenon is well above Fusion Lilith, and if you don't need to do this much against Worm Lucifero, then it's likely that Worm Lucifero is above Fusion Lilith as well. No. Nib also used W Union in that fight against him. Yeah, that's another thing that's interesting. What are those spheres on Lucifero's back? A lot of people are correlating that to the five-headed dragon. That... Oh, never mind, I can't talk about that, sorry. Yeah, honestly, Thor's Hammer, I kind of agree. Black Clover Power Aggression's a little too insane. The fact that Ichika can body Lucifero and stuff like that, it's not the best writing, but, I mean... I still love the story, though. Just in terms of like narrative and plot and stuff like that, I love the story and characters. But yeah, I think that power progression Tabata needs to simmer it down a bit and think of other ways to not progress the power system so quickly. Do you think that Sister Lily, like Paladin Lily, could defeat Lucifero? 50%? Yeah, I think that current Sister Lily would defeat 50% Lucifero. Make it feel kind of bad, though. Nice. Oh my god, y'all are wild. So yeah, I think that is why I put Fusion Lilith at, like, the lowest. I think every other character has a clear path to being strong in Fusion Lilith. But I think the real debate, guys, is who's the strongest of these three. Is it Megicula in her 1/3 manifested state? Is it Devil Horde Zenon? Or is it Worm Lucifero? Like, I put in the community tab that I thought that it was Worm Lucifero. And then it was Devil Horde Zenon second and Megicula third. But, like, after, like, thinking about it more, it really is a very nuanced discussion. It almost warrants a video. I'm confused. You said that Yami's Dimension Slash has infinite speed, so it shouldn't that mean that the attack should hit the target 100% of the time if aimed properly? Well, that would mean that if it didn't, then the characters would have infinite speed to dodge it. Sleeping Danger, Black Lure's power progression is almost as bad as Dragon Ball Supers. Yeah, I would say that it's not as bad, but it is, yeah. The Dragon Ball Supers, I think, is a lot worse, but it is pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, Goku versus Naruto, I have a video, my video in 2 weeks will be how strong is a Chica. I'll compare her to Dante, I'll compare her to Lucifero, because that's what the fandom is comparing her to right now. People think that she couldn't even beat Dante. People think that she would get bodied by Lucifero, but my video will discuss that. Devil Zenon's most likely the strongest. Somebody says Worm Lucifero. I'm actually going to make a poll just for these three. I wish there was ranked choice voting on these polls. That'd make it more accurate. Alright, let's have you guys vote in the poll. What is Worm Lucifero? Worm Lucifero is, remember when he became like a giant monster before he manifested? How about a vid of Asta scaling the Bleachverse? I'm actually doing a video of Asta versus the Espada. Still working out the scaling and that. 20 votes in, and it's a pretty close one between Devil Horde Zenon and Worm Lucifero. Spatial Mag is just too OP. Yeah, you gotta remember though that if Tabata is consistent with his scaling, then gravity is technically a magical advantage over space. Apindika, you think Lucifer Futures has a contract with the entire Yami clan? I think it's possible. Something like that. Or they all worshipped him or something. I get with Dragon Ball OPM and Bleach, I get why the power progression grows exponentially, but at least the villain's power progression also grows exponentially as well. Even Madara somewhat gets it. What do you mean? Because like the villains get stronger too in Black Clover. I wholeheartedly disagree, Funny Cat. Chica does not have really any advantage over Asta. Can you name the advantage? Yeah, that's probably the whole thing of if you have a good debater against bad debaters, they can win anything. Does 100% Megicula scale 100% Lucifero? No, she does not. She should be potentially relative, but I want to know about Black Clover lore than the current right now. What do you mean? Like, you want to know more about the past of Black Clover than what's going on in Black Clover right now? Damn, so Worm Lucifero is winning not even close now. Megicula doesn't even have a chance. Yeah, exactly, Nib. Lucius took all of Lucifero's power. I think that my Chica video will open a lot of eyes because The reason why people think that Ichika's not very strong is because they think that she doesn't scale to Asta because she's only using physical strength. But Zenon is literally just magic power. Zenon is using ki to augment your magic power. Yeah, dope. Regular Julius could beat Lucifero, yeah. I read Black Clover on TCP scans. Thor's Hammer. I get what you're saying, but this also does happen in Black Clover. Like, this happened with Lucifero. As a worm, he was getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Then he manifested, and then he doubled his power against Zora, and then he went to his full power form. Like, I get what you mean, but I think it does happen in Black Clover. Not all the time, though. But this also happened with Zagred, too. I do expect some major character to that Sleeping Danger. How strong is Devil Heart Zenon compared to Beelzebub? He's probably not even close. Am I going to do a low ball, mid ball, high ball potential scale for Ichika? So the video for Ichika is more so an inverse scaling, so it's really a low ball and a high ball. I don't really do a huge in-depth scale on, like, is she planetary or whatever. Viki, what? How come regular Julius beats Lucifero? Did you watch my Julius video that I posted, like, not even a month ago? But, the reason why I think Devil Heart Zenon isn't comparable to Beelzebub is Beelzebub is in the final gate, and he's a true, like, he was a part of the main 3 of the final gate. So he should be stronger than Megicula based on that, probably. But also, the reason why I might think that... I think that Beelzebub is likely more than... that Beelzebub is stronger than 50% Lucifero, because when Lucifero lost half his power, he said, my magic power was the greatest in the world. It makes me think that now that would mean that Beelzebub is stronger than him. Could be wrong, though. And if Beelzebub is stronger than 50% Lucifero, then Devil Heart Zenon has no chance whatsoever. Wouldn't even be close, because Yuno doesn't even really compare to Lucifero when he wasn't even trying. Julius would body Lucifero. If you watch the video, why don't you think that Julius cannot defeat Lucifero? Because I go over that in the video. Yeah, Funny Cat, that's actually incorrect. Just go reread the chapters that talk about Zenon, and just remember that Yoryoku equals magic power. And then you will know then that Ichika is literally using ki to augment her magic power. So yeah, she does scale. I know that Zeton's very confusing. I was confused at first, but when you reread it multiple times, Zenon is literally just using ki to increase your magic power. Because remember that it is say that ki, people unconsciously create mana or magic power from their ki. So that's what Zenon is. Well, she would body Licked and Lumiere. Wouldn't even be close. Yeah, I think we will get more Supreme Devils in the future unknown. But yeah, Funny Cat, I get what you mean, but like that's not what Zenon is. Zenon increases your magic power. Current Unimite scale what? Yeah, of course. I mean, it's probably that Ki does or Zeton does both. It might increase your strength and your magic power, but it's at least like just said like that it increases your blah blah blah. It's so hard for me to say. Your Yoku, which is magic power. So that's why I think that that's the main bar for people putting Ichika not scaling to Lucifero, because they say that, oh, she's just using physical strength and that's a weakness to Asta. But Sleeping Danger, I'm gonna ask you not to send links in the chat. I think that's something that only I'm gonna do, and then my mods. Both Ichika and Lucifero share one thing: hating Asta. That's true. Oh, damn. Okay. So with almost 50 votes, Warm Lucifero takes the cake. Not even close. Damn, I do have to leave soon, but I will briefly talk about between who's the strongest between the three. It's so hard to try and determine who's the strongest: Megicula, Warm Lucifero, or Devil Heart Zenon. Um, God, it's so hard. Like I think I put Warm Lucifero, but like I don't know. I can't even think why. Besides him just scaling way above Devil Heart Zenon. Okay, well, let's go. Devil Heart Zenon versus Megicula. Who wins? What do you guys think? Beaky, I don't think it's been stated he can't use Zeton, but based on that, he shouldn't be able to use Zeton because he doesn't have magic power. What do you guys think about Megicula versus Devil Heart Zenon? Zenon? I'll have to phone in your next class. Damn. Alright, well, appreciate you for coming in, Anissa. Byron McClendon, Zenon. Oh, Byron is a member. Appreciate the supporting the channel. Zenon. People pick. It seems like most people prefer picking Zenon over Megicula. Um, See, for the longest time, I think even in my community tab, I put Devil Heart Zenon over Megicula. And that's because Megicula didn't seem that much stronger than 100% Vanica. And Zenon was. But it's hard to say. I mean, if you look at what Yuno did against Lucifero, Lucifero was objectively stronger than Megicula. Because, remember, Nozel, his spells worked within Decaying World, and he could blow apart Megicula. And his spells could clash against hers and negate hers and stuff like that. So, Nozel was comparable to Megicula. And then a Twilight Valhalla amped Nozel got shitted on by Lucifero. Whereas Yuno did a lot better. So that's like my reasoning. That like, Yuno scales to Zenon, Nozel scales to Megicula. And because of that, that's what I think that Devil Heart Zenon scales above Megicula. Because, as I just said, Nozel scales to Megicula. He just couldn't kill her because he wasn't arcane. And Yuno scales to Zenon and does way better than somebody who's amped. Because remember, Nozel was amped by Valhalla and got cooked by Lucifero. That's like my reason. Even though, like, if you just go through like a multiplier scaling, you could objectively put Megicula's multiplier above Zenon's. But that would just mean that we're just lowballing Yuno's multiplier at the Spirit Dive. And we're lowballing his But like, if we just go off of feats and scalable feats, then Devil Zenon is above Megicula. Yeah, I think that's why I would put Megicula above Fusion Lilith, but below Devil Heart Zenon. Because, like, even though she has a way higher multiplier, you could just then say that because of feats, Zenon is higher. We just are just lowballing it too much. How strong do you think 1% Lucifero would be? Like, what character would be on par with? Okay, let's take 50% Lucifero. The one that True Delvine and Asta fought. Divide his power by 50. Yeah, feats don't lie, right? Yeah, that's why I put Devil Heart Zenon above Megicula, just through feats. Damn. Just, okay, if we divide Lucifero's power by 50, I honestly don't think, no, he definitely, because like I said, Megicula is over 100 times stronger than Lilith Maw, or over 100 times stronger than the Dark Triad at 100%. So that means that even if you take Lucifero to divide his power by 50, he's still several times stronger than the 100% Dark Triad. So honestly, 1% Lucifero is stronger than Fusion Lilith. Um, to be fair, a weakened and beat defeated Zenon, whereas was fully healed against Lucifero. I don't know about that. Um, I don't think it was fully recovered. Um, and it's kind of a wash if you look at it like that, because had to use his full Saint Stage power to defeat Zenon. But against Lucifero, he didn't have the full Saint Stage power. Now, he was still Saint Stage because Lucifero thought that could kill him. That feasibly had the possibility of killing him and ending his life. But if you look at Zephyr when it was in Saint Stage versus Zephyr against Lucifero, it was visibly weaker. So that's why I don't think it's. I think it's a wash, and that's why I think that you are correct, but also that goes against that. Yeah, 1% Lucifero would solo the Elf Arc. I don't think you guys understand how crazy the gap in power is. Like, I know you're all gonna hate me for saying this, but Magna solos the Elf Arc. Yeah. Still getting healed as she shoots Euro, so not fully healed. Yeah, but it's likely he's still. And remember, it was it's really hard. Like I said, it's a wash because technically not at his full Saint Stage, but also now he's more recovered. It's really hard to scale. So yeah, but anyways, Fusion Lilith is the weakest. Then it's Megicula, and that's provides us Devil Heart Zenon or Worm Lucifero. Magna can't beat Ziggurat. You're right. But if you look at it like this, we know that devils can be knocked unconscious. So technically, Magna could still win a fight against Megicula by knocking her unconscious, or not Megicula, against Ziggurat and make him go out, knock him out unconscious. 1/3 Megicula doesn't seem to be 33 times stronger than 100% Vanica, and Vanica scales to Lilith and Ama. Beaky, I think you might have missed it earlier, but the reasoning for Megicula being way above 100% Vanica is Rill he's relative to 100% Vanica, and then he does Twilight Valhalla and he amps himself. And remember, your spells they scale to how strong your magic is. So you have a Twilight amped Rill and his spells, which would be above Vanica likely. And then you have Megicula, and she can take dead Dark Disciples and put in enough magic power in 100 of them to be able to be strong enough to destroy Rill's spells. So, and then Megicula still has power left after the fight. So that is how you can get 1/3 Megicula 100 times above 100% Vanica. Matt's just a homie. He's just trolling. Does getting a grimoire give you magic power? No, it's not even a short period of time. If you get a grimoire, you get an actual mana boost in power. It's probably that there's magic power in the grimoire, and it's just amplifying you. But yeah, Magna can defeat Ziggurat. That's how insane the power progression is for if you include the anime canon. I remember like a year ago I made the Apostles of Sephira versus the Dark Disciples, and I had the Apostles of Sephira winning in a very close fight. If I made that video today, I would literally have a single one of the Dark Disciples, and they would defeat the Apostles of Sephira. That's because at that time I hadn't properly scaled the anime canon of how much bigger the power gap is. Nozel was not being amped by Valhalla when he fought Megicula. He was against Lucifero, because we see trails of runes or light or magic going to the people that's being amped by it, and Nozel was not. And Megicula was being nerfed by what was being nerfed is curses, but not magic power. So like Megicula's durability wasn't nerfed. It was her spells. I love Zigrid, yeah. Yeah, you have magic power if you don't have a Grimoire, yeah, Asta. Oh yeah, me too, Asta. I'm curious about what's happening in the Diamond Kingdom. Oh, Megicula definitely is more skilled in curse warding than Vanica. Oh my god. My favorite magic type is probably dark magic. I think it's pretty dope. Although I really like the word soul magic and dream magic. I think the disciples' cumulative power would be stronger than real since all of them were attacking spell, but not a single one of them. So according to the logic, she can't. No, remember there were 100 dead dark disciples, and she could make a single one of those dead dark disciples, or she made 100 different one of those. So 100 individuals, all of them strong enough to fight real spells. Vibe, I mean, sure, but we know that Charlotte doesn't nerf Megicula that much, or it's like a slight nerf. So yeah, who was saying that earlier? Oh yeah, Vicky. I don't know how to say her name, but she imbued 100 of them with that power, and she still had power of her own. So that's how you could get her above 100 times, over 100 times stronger, 100% Vanica. I don't know anything about Kame ga Kill. Or Kame ga Kill. Yeah, I don't know anything. Sorry. Chat getting sussy, bro. It's a little sussy. Damn, so Warm Lucifero won it. Not even close. If Asta unlocks his True Devil Union with only 5 seconds against Angry Chica, who would win? I don't know. Chica just... I'm not even going to say it, because it's spoilers, but... So yeah. What about... Did we already go over this? Devil Zenon versus Worm Lucifero. Who wins? It's hard to say, because like I said, Yuno could defeat Zenon, and then, but he could only kill half of Worm Lucifero with Eurus. So he basically needed his full power to defeat Worm Lucifero. It's hard to say. I would probably put Worm Lucifero above Zenon because of that, but it's like I said, it's not concrete at all. Name 3 to 5 characters that are MFTO. Magna, luck. Like almost anybody in Black Clover that's relevant. What that's relevant is MFTL. So I don't remember why I said to the Black Clover channel. I'm new to Black. You're new to Black Clover. Well, welcome to the community, Zero. But yeah, like anybody have arguments for why Zenon would defeat one Lucifero? I think one of the good is that just his hacks are good, and Dainsliff negates durability. But space is a weakness to gravity, so it's a tough one there. Oh, Matt, the $2 super chat. Appreciate that, man. I'll send you snaps tonight. Plus, explain who Dace is. Oh my gosh. I don't know about Asta's dad, Jay. I think that we haven't seen him yet, but I think we will. Let's remember, most of the time the villains are defeated by those who straight up counter their abilities without ability to teleport. Zero. We know nothing about Asta's dad, Zero. I don't know why you're in here. Is Zagred more powerful than Giant Demon and Black Clover, the old elf one? Zagred, I would put more powerful than Demon Licht, yeah. What panel are you talking about, Funny Cat? What do you think about the two characters sitting next to Lucius whose faces are covered? I mean, like the other paladins? I think one might be Morgan. His spatial domination might protect. That's another tough one, because remember, the spatial domination, one of its things is that it only works against people that either are not led by mana, do not have mana zone with space magic, or do not have more magic power than Zenon. And it's very likely that Worm Lucifero has more magic power than Zenon, and also Lucifero has a magical advantage. So Lucifero 1 has a magical advantage, and 2 has a magic power advantage. That's why I think that Zenon would really struggle in this fight. What's my biggest Black Clover agenda? Devil Hybrid Asta. So I'm probably going to make an updated theory on that soon. Oh yeah, I'm definitely suspicious of Ryu, Omni Slayer, definitely. That's why I made a whole theory on it. But yeah, anyways, guys, I've been streaming for an hour and a half. I should probably get going. I got a video to edit, and I'm going to be gone this entire weekend, so I got to get it done as much as possible. Wait. Well, the case of Zagred is that he can think, while Demon Licht can... You mean, like, think? I mean, Zagred has the thinking advantage, and he's actually more powerful than Demon Licht. Not a fan of Hybrid Asta, would only further bring Bleach comparisons. I don't really care about the comparisons, honestly. I think people get... The only thing that is bad about comparisons is when the fucking fans of the other series get annoying about it, but... Anyways, y'all, I should probably end the stream. I will be streaming again on Monday, reviewing the chapter, the official chapter on Viz. Thanks for coming in, y'all. Thanks for super chats. Appreciate it. Also, there should be a video on Tuesday next week. That'll be Has Asta Surpassed True Devil Union? But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for the support. Hope you guys have